It's difficult to talk about reincarnation most of the time because adherents here in the West see in it something quite unlike those who first spread the doctrine and its versions in the East. You see, in the Eastern religions, reincarnation is the trap. It's the endless cycle that one must escape if we're to be happy. And I can only continue to circulate throughout the universe in various forms, life after life, because I've yet to do what I was meant to do. In the West, however, reincarnation has begun to be interpreted as a vague kind of hope. If your life isn't going well, no matter, there's always a fresh start. If you fail to achieve your life's dream, no matter, there's always another lifetime to achieve it in. And if you just don't like who you are, or you consider yourself of little importance, perhaps you were someone of greater importance in a previous life. In the West, then, the doctrine of reincarnation is an attractive one. I can understand that. But to the Christian, to the man or woman who's actually had an encounter with God, the whole reincarnation thing is seen for what it actually is, a distraction. Think about this with me for just a moment. Everything we've learned from God about who He is and who we are in relation to Him immediately contradicts everything that reincarnation in the West proposes as the reason for being a source of hope. To believe in reincarnation, you have to believe that you are not your body. It's just a vessel, and a temporary one. Now, over and against this, Jesus tells us that we will get our bodies back on the last day, at the resurrection. To believe in reincarnation, at least in the West, you have to believe that there really are no consequences to one's earthly actions. One can, in theory, continue to live life after life with no regard for what has happened as a result of my choices. To that, Jesus says in many and varied ways that there is a judge and a judgment day, and we'll have to make an account for our decisions. To believe in reincarnation, one has to believe that time is cyclic. That is, time as we experience it here on earth will never end. To that, the entire biblical record points forward to a time when God's time engulfs what is here below, essentially ending this horizontal or spiraling forward of human existence, something we often call the last day. To believe in reincarnation, you have to do away with that whole heaven thing. You know, the paradise, the kingly garden, the place of bliss. This is what's so silly, by the way, about that movie, What Dreams May Come. For after Robin Williams saves his beloved from hell and they're finally in heaven together, they decide that the thrill of finding each other in another life would be better somehow than being in heaven. Now, if heaven is real, then once we get there, we won't want to leave. And if we do, guess what? We're not in heaven. Finally, to believe in reincarnation, one has to place his hope in a process at the end of a life. I hope that I become or live something better in my next life. You see, this is the one that irks me so strongly because in the ancient world, as it's true today, the reality of death was one of the best arguments for hoping in Jesus. And the thinking is pretty straightforward. When you die, what would you prefer to hope in, a process or a person? A person who has conquered death, a person who is the good shepherd will find you no matter how far you've wandered, yes, even into the great unknown called death, or a process, a nice idea. You see, Christians don't believe in reincarnation for some pretty simple reasons, but this one's the most important, I think. The whole thrust, the whole genius of Christianity is that it's not at its heart about ideas, although we love ideas. No, Christianity at its heart is about a person who is real, a person who loves us, and a person who is God.